Check. Is this thing on? Good. So for posterity's sake, this is the coach call for the Go team on the 24th of August. So welcome, everybody. We are recording, and we have an exciting call for you tonight. Your friends, Dan V-Dog and Jay Shubring is, I can come up with pretty much any new name for you every time.
Yeah, man, that's okay. I've heard worse. I'll take it.
Yeah, that's good. All right, so welcome everybody, and just going to remind us all of our mission, and that is to help people achieve their goals and to enjoy a healthy, fulfilling life. It's really, really critical to keep the mission in mind always as we're doing what we're doing. If we keep that whole idea of helping people, we won't turn into sales weirdo freaks, okay? Where people kind of like run for the hills. And so it's really important that we do that. And then we live this out through our team, which helps equip busy coaches, the Go team, equipping busy coaches with the essentials to build thriving businesses to help people live healthy and fulfilling lives, which is part of the overall mission of Beachbody. So that's our job. Our job, equip, essentials, thriving. You see the words. Equipping, essentials, and thriving. So we are trying to not only just with Beachbody, trying to cut the fat, but we are trying to cut the fat as it comes to coaching, because there's so many things you can do in coaching, and we're trying to simplify and trying to create a system or systems that will help you build your businesses so you don't get distracted by those evil, the evil,
Squirrel?
Squirrel. The squirrel is awful. And you just try to find Sherelle, that's not you. We didn't say, we said squirrel, not Sherelle. Oh, very good. All right. So everybody, welcome. That's great. Our process here, real quick, and Jay Shub, we're going to have you pop in on this. We are going to head over and talk a little bit about coaching cycle. And we're just going to give you just a sneak peek of some things to come. Just the fact that we want to let you know that we're working and behind the scenes, and we've got a big old monster project that we're taking on right now. But it is going to be epic and awesome once we do get it done. So, Jay, you want to talk a little bit about what's going on?
Yeah, man, absolutely. Been working like a rabid beaver. How about that? That's pretty good. Like a rabid caffeinated beaver. Getting together the Coach Basics training site so that not only will we have the groups where you can plug people in or maybe even plug yourself in to get up to speed, but also to have a site that you could even do self-paced if you wanted to, but really to have a source, one place where we can go to make sure that people can go in there, get the basics, and keep it very, very straightforward and very, dare I say, basic. Mm-hmm. I know they're pretty creative. I know. But really try to get all the pieces of the puzzle in place. So as we go around the circle here, we know what the GSR call is. We all know what the worksheet is for that. We know how to do that, hopefully. If not, just ask for help. The jumpstart, all of that on the coach cycle. But of course, the actual training, the basics piece, the rock the basics to help people get off to a strong start. And also, as we build that, we're going to be phasing in more advanced stuff later on. So not to throw everything, the proverbial drinking from the fire hose up front. There are things that a brand new coach just doesn't need to know that you might need to know when you're an emerald or a diamond or building diamond and beyond. Your needs are going to be different. So really just taking it piece by piece and starting off with the basics. If you want to call it level 1, phase 1, tier 1, 101, whatever you want to call it, that's really where it's starting off. Password protected website where you can go in and get all that basic training.
That's great. I think it's really critical because and I love what you say, because especially, it's important to maybe kind of have ideas and you can learn things from like coaches that are doing more or different things. But it's very, very easy, folks, to get overwhelmed with coaching. And then overwhelm brings inactivity, as I've seen it. So when you get overwhelmed, you just stop. And that's the worst place to be in coaching. Notice this is like we're talking cycles here. So we want people moving, and we want people in motion with their coaching business in order to like keep growing it. So we're going to try to simplify, and simplifying is ultimately what I believe is going to help you develop your business best. Is that you know what to do, and you're not overwhelmed just getting started. Okay?
And a little bit of a heads up on the content too. I think something that you're going to be excited about, at least I am, is that we've been looking at several different sites from several different coaches, even different groups, and looking at the best of the bits and pieces from all of those. So I think you're going to be pleased when you see that we're pulling in tips and ideas from coaches all across the business, names that you're going to recognize, some that you may not, but just the absolute best content we could possibly find, regardless of the source, that all aligns with what we're trying to do as a team. So when you go in there, you're going to see a lot of different information in there. It all aligns with, of course, the Coach Basics, going all the way back to Beachbody, but looking at where we could come up with the best ideas. And I think we've done that.
And so we're kind of targeting somewhere in September to be able to have something together here. Definitely by October 1 is our hope to have the ability to kind of like really roll it out to coaches. So what we'll probably do, just so you know, this is a redo because we started some stuff initially and it just got overwhelming and it wasn't very interactive in a good way. So we're going to make sure that this is like stellar. You're going to feel proud because what we've found, guys, is that if you are more confident in where to send a new coach. So Sherelle, is a good example for you. You just got some new coaches online, which is awesome. Congrats. The more you're apt or the more you are feeling clear about, okay, where do I send these guys? Where do I send them on their first steps, getting rolling on this? The more apt then you're going to continue because you go, oh, right, that worked for them. I'll start inviting some more to that. You know what I mean? So, and that's the more we can have that confidence on our team. That's why we're really making sure that this is going to work for us. Also, this is a really critical piece that we're trying to address within the system as well of training is that we want coaches to feel comfortable at all levels on our team. Okay. Now, really technically, a discount coach, you can see this picture, a discount coach really isn't necessarily going to be part of the team because they're really not going to need it. The only reason they're really there is just because they want to get a discount on their Shakeology. There's really no sales. They're not really even trying to get any sales. They just want the discount because they love the products, and that's great. That's a fine place to be. And that's how I started. But very, very quickly, I was like, well, hey, I got a full-time job. I do love these products, and I want to share them with others because I wouldn't mind making a little bit extra money to minimally help pay for my products. That'd be great. And that's where I became a hobby coach. And then we refer to it as a business builder. Sometimes we call it an all-in coach. But someone who really wants to like make this their thing. There's all different levels that we're going to eventually address in the whole process. Now, obviously, with Coach Basics, a business builder can't stop at Coach Basics. They're going to have to move beyond that, and that's what we're going to try to develop beyond that. But just so we know, okay. Let's see who we got here. Check my thing. I don't know if do we have any brand new, any new newbies. Doesn't look like any brand new newbies. Melissa, you've been just a couple weeks, but I will give a shout out to you. There you go. So that's good stuff. Quote to grow on. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I've been listening to a really, really amazing book that is right now rocking my world. And I thought I knew what the content was by the title. Okay. So the title of the book is called The One Thing by Gary Keller. And so there are other books that are in the similar kind of feel. So Jeff Olson's book called The Slight Edge, Darren Hardy's book called The Compound Effect. And so I figured the one thing, focus in, do that one thing well, and it compounds. It's sort of the same concept. I'm just going to hear it a little bit different way. But this guy, the way he's saying it is just rocking my world in terms of focus and not just focus, but literally the energy that mentally, and he's actually using some neuroscience about how focus and clarity, so he like debunks things like multitasking, which some of you could be doing right now. I know you could. But is the idea, so multitasking debunks that, especially when you're doing important tasks. Now, yeah, you can fold laundry and chew gum and watch TV or whatever. That's not a big deal. But, or eat watermelon and watch a call. That totally would be optional. But as it relates to important tasks, you're really trying to focus in and do something. Multitasking, big. It's like you're almost driving drunk is like the point when you're multitasking, which is, again, reason not to text and drive and all that kind of stuff. So a quote from Gary Keller. Here we go. Make sure every day you do what matters most. When you know what matters most, everything makes sense. When you don't know what matters most, anything makes sense. I love that last one, because at the end I was expecting, when you don't know what matters most, nothing makes it. Well, really anything makes sense, which is squirrel, right? The essence of squirrel. And you go into like, oh my gosh, I can't, there's so many tasks, there's so many things I could be doing, blah, 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 blah. So our job as business people, we're business folks who are maybe trying to build a business, whether it's a hobby coach or a business builder. The fact is, our job is discernment, and really knowing at each stage of the business, and even each day and each week, and kind of as you go through maybe a month, there's maybe a month cycle. What are you doing that is the most important thing that you can be doing? And this is kind of cool because it relates to all areas of life. It's not just necessarily Beachbody. And that's the thing I love about doing personal development. It doesn't just relate to my Beachbody business. It goes beyond that, which is really, really great. Okay? Quick. So that's good stuff. And if I would highly suggest picking up the one thing, if you do have that, it's I think or if you do have the chance, I do have the Audible version of that. So it'd be audible.com from Amazon. You can buy those credits. And you can get that. All right. 'Tis time, ladies and gentlemen, for
it's a chat shout out. It's a chat shout out. It's a chat shout out. It's a chat shout
out. Once again, chat. Whoa, not that.
Whoa.
No. Jeez. That was later. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, shout out, please, in the chat. Please do this, and we'd love to hear, why do we run challenges? There's challenges. We do these things. We do 6 days. We do 21 days. I'm going to ask the elementary question. Why do we run them? Get support? New customers? Good. What else? Something to invite to. Very good. Accountability? Very good. Love it, Carol. Yep, there's find new coaches. Yes, very good stuff. Okay, a couple things. I'm going to type it in. This is one of my favorites. I use this a lot. Claire, you won't be surprised me typing this. We're normalizing behavior. Okay? We're normalizing behavior. And as people start to see others do behaviors, what tends to happen? They go, yeah, I can do that. It sounds good. So we're trying to normalize a healthy lifestyle. And for many folks, guys, just here, and this is the hard part, especially if you've been a coach for a while and you've been around us for a while, been around semi-healthy people for a while, a lot of people don't have anybody really in their lives that's living any kind of healthy lifestyle whatsoever. Like, we are it. Okay? And they're the first people stepping out and saying, I'm going to make a change. And our support and normalizing that behavior then ultimately makes them not feel so weird. Because truly, man, if they're at a family function and somehow the little container comes out, it's the green container. What is that? What are you doing? Why aren't you eating this fried chicken? The what? It's the blue. Wait a minute. Wait. So the more we normalize that, and that we're not weirdos, and even normalizing specifically when it comes to coaching here, guys, Shakeology. We're normalizing drinking Shakeology. Like people who are normal, hopefully most of us, I'm a little bit weirder than normal, I know. But that we're normalizing that behavior, and then people are going to be that much more apt to say, oh, yeah, I'm going to stick with this. And I love, guys, the way also something to invite to is great, but even more so, a deadline to invite to, right? So it's the thing to invite to with the deadline, because it's one thing to just run a group, and that's possible, or you can run, somebody could like actually potentially do a 6-day clean eating reset, especially with Jason's tool that he set up with the email autoresponder, could actually run a 6-day group by themselves. And I'm going to give it a shot. I'm actually going to try it with, I've got a person who ordered too late for our latest 6-day reset. So I'm going to put them through it on their own and see how they do. So we'll see how that works. But I'm hoping that like kind of putting the auto email stuff along with a group makes more normal happen. Very good. And speaking of challenges, oh yeah, we got a new challenge coming up. You guys saw I posted a little graphic in the Coach Club. Back to School, Back to You is an option. You don't have to use that one. If that doesn't appeal to your market, don't do it. Don't do it. Like, do something else. If it's like, I have no clue. You know, Tyler mentioned some things about like hunting, you know, outdoors stuff for the fall, like, you know, get ripped and hunt for pheasants. I don't know. A catchy title there. They're gonna, you know, they're a hard time resisting. But you can use whatever you want. And I would suggest though, so I think this graphic, let's see, what did it say? I did one yesterday. Nice. Get ripped and hunt pheasants. Nice. My kind of chat. There you go, Bryce. Love it. But Back to School, Back to You, for many people, particularly folks who are parentals, that can be a really helpful thing. Now, if you're going to go more for empty nesters and beyond, then maybe that's not important enough, or not a big enough deal. But, you know, sometimes I think the general population has a little bit of a school rhythm, you know, when it comes to watching college football and all that kind of stuff. So, but I would suggest is either personalize with you, if you're daring and willing enough and you have some kind of a transformation picture, that would be a spot to maybe kind of overlay small over that. If you can use a simple program or an app, PicMonkey is a good example of one of those. There's a lot of photo editing apps out there where you can just layer a picture on top. Be something to maybe personalize that a little bit more. But that kind of gives you a backbone to work from. Okay? Any questions about the challenge, anybody? Besides Tyler's pheasants, ripped pheasants thing. Okay. Yeah, and vital behaviors, we won't really hit that tonight. We do have some Success Club. Jay, you want to take this one?
Wow, yeah. Well, something I think probably everybody has noticed, unless you're new, is we talk about lives, which I just wanted to point out on this instead of points, right? Because I think it helps us realize what we're really doing and who we're really impacting. And it's not about scoring points or getting somebody to get a challenge pack. It's about how many lives we're impacting. And as of right now, the leaderboard looks like this.
This is the beginning of the leaderboard. It gets more.
No, this is it, Dan. These are all the, no?
There's more.
I was going to give you a hard time. I was going to say, where's Dan? Dan's not on here. But no, 2 Lives Club, Jessica, Nicole, myself, and Carrie. 1 Life Club, Nicole, Dana, Bryce, way to go, Andy, Sherelle, Tiana, Melissa, Sheila, Deb, Stephanie, and Jennifer. So some new faces in there.
Doubles there, so you'll see the next slide. There's a couple doubles, so I'll have to check with Bailey on that. But you'll see. Keep talking.
So some new faces, I think, that hadn't been out there the last time. So awesome, way to go. And that's the start, right? And
yes.
I remember, you know, and still there are times where I'm like, it's only 1 Success Club. It's not 1 Success Club or 1 challenge pack or 2 points. It's literally a life. And I think if you know people in your life who have had struggles or health challenges or have seen somebody struggle with those things, you really need to think about what's going on behind the scenes there.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Bonnie continues to tear it up on her bike with 6 lives, which is just awesome, setting the pace.
I'm happy to say I just hit 6. I just hit 6 today. So there we go. I had to catch up with Bonnie. She was setting the pace on the bike.
Yeah, really. Also Dana and Stacy with 4, and Stephanie and Nicole with 3. So awesome. Great progress, and there's still quite a bit of month left.
Yep.
So hopefully we can all get on this slide with Dan and Bonnie.
Yep. 7 days, guys. And here's a real thing, guys, just so you understand, as coaches, your volume and your team volume ultimately is what is going to, and let's just call it what it is. It's what's going to make you money. Okay? And it's not just you getting Success Club points, but ultimately it's inviting others to get those. Now, Sherelle, we must have missed you on here because it looks like you got some new coaches, or did they just transfer over from being? You can unmute yourself if you want.
No, I got 3 new ones in the last couple weeks.
Couple weeks. So I wonder why we didn't see you in this. That's weird. I'll have to check and make sure. So you're probably at 6 then, yeah? Or at least 3 lives, right?
Well, 2 of them only signed up as coaches with a purchase and didn't do a
challenge pack.
And the guy that I just signed up the other day bought the big stack of performance supplements. So that wasn't a challenge pack.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, so he got a huge thing, but it wasn't a challenge pack.
Well, but still, that's great stuff. That's good. That's good. Well, awesome. Well, congrats on that, and that's good stuff. And they'll eventually catch up with you, especially if he's on auto ship for any of that stuff. So that'll kick in for you. Good.
Good deal.
All right. Moving right along. Boom, 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 boom. Wait a minute. You know what? That's what that was. No. Yeah. Sorry. Wrong slide. That was last week's 2. That's gone. Bye. See ya. Jason? Continue.
Do over. Never mind that. Edit that out later on. So 2 Lives Clubs. You can see myself, Melissa, Jessica, Nicole, and the One Life Club. Got some happy, good-looking folks there with Bryce, Heath, Jeffrey, Tiana, Andy, Jennifer, Deb, Sherelle, Claire, and Chris. So great to see everybody in there. And again, it's not over till it's over, like the old cliche says. And I know that there have been some months where I went into the last day of the month, and at 5 o'clock on the last day of the month, I had 0, and I still hit Success Club 5. So,
and it's really, guys, all a matter of the more. Okay, so here's the thing. We have 2 options when it comes to Success Club. You can water and plant seeds, water, plant seeds, water, plant seeds, water, reap. Or you have to go the microwave version, which is I'm going to plant a seed now, water it for about 3 seconds, and then reap. Okay? That's where you have to go. So you can wait till the last minute, and that's where you sort of definitely start to come off more salesy, or you start saying things like, well, hey, I'll give you $20 off and blah, blah, blah. And, if I'll give you the commission back if you just get my thing and blah, blah, blah. Here's the thing is, guys, I'm just saying, yeah, you could do that, but ultimately that customer is going to probably be the kind of person that would be just that, versus a valued customer who really sees the value in it. So I'm not saying that you can't do that on occasion if you're like 2 points away and you really want to nail it. But if you build your whole customer base on that, I remember back when there was one particular coach, this was back in Team Symbiotic, she built her whole thing on sharing. Like, she would literally not take any of the commission. So she would get all these Success Club points, and she wasn't taking any of the commission. And so she's just basically giving her commission away every time. And I'm like, and then what happened? Those people just fell right off. And it's like, So just got to say, be careful on doing something like that. All right. Tonight's questions. Ask Siri, ask Jason, ask Dan, ask all of us, guys, because it's not just us. It's a collective wisdom here. And as people have questions to ask, we would love for you to maybe, we'll have you like kind of raise your hand by just saying, hey, got a question, type it into the chat. And then what we'll do is we'll have you unmute from that point on so we can keep a little bit of order here versus if everybody unmutes, we're just going to have a whole bunch of noise. So I have a few prepared things. I had a couple questions submitted prior to the call. So does anybody have any specific questions that we would like to cover? And we could cover anything about like coaching in general. We can cover challenges. We can cover inviting. We can cover developing your market. We can talk about, I don't know, hairstyles pretty much, watermelon or Malone, whichever you prefer. So what questions do you have for the group tonight, guys, as we engage in our questions call? Yeah. And no question's a stupid one, honestly. Like, literally, I don't even know what Success Club is. That's okay. Anyone? Bueller.
No questions, Dan, which is good because
Wow.
then we can skip all the Coach Basics site is going to be pretty simple.
There'll be like a page. Tyler's got one. Go.
Oh, how to define people?
Well, Tyler's got one. Go ahead, unmute.
Can you guys hear me?
You can.
Okay, sweet. Because I'm trying this new headphones that have a mic in it. But
Nice.
So my question, I think a lot of probably might be a question for that might hit a lot of people, but for starting conversations on Facebook, I know we've started this before, but I think people struggle with, you want to ask how their job's going and whatnot, but how do you, because Dan, obviously you get a lot of Success Club points, and I don't know if your customers come from Facebook or if they come from your blog, if you get leads or how that works. Mm-hmm. But for me, being a single male that's 20, whatever years old, 27, for me, I can't really.
You're breaking up on us, dude. Can you guys hear him?
For me to open up conversations with me. So if you can hear me, basically my question, because for me, it's hard for me to open up conversations with women on Facebook because a lot of creepers are out there, you could say.
Yep.
So how would I go about that being, just with my situation? Because I can relate to a lot of women in fitness and talk to them about it, but when I message them, it's hard to really start a conversation because, maybe it's because I'm personally thinking that they're going to think that I'm hitting on them, I guess you could say. But how would you go about opening up those type of conversations, especially because we got a couple of young guys on this team, that obviously are trying to build a business off Facebook. And that's just something that I've constantly struggled with because, obviously women are successful in this business, so it would be nice to get a couple of them on the team.
Yes, for you.
So I'm just wondering what are some ways, and maybe this isn't time to talk about it.
No, it's good. That's
creative ways to
because it's
open up
reverse
conversations.
Too. It's reverse too. Women have the same issue, especially married, the whole thing. That can feel weird sometimes too, as well. Or even just a married guy to a married woman, it still can feel a little weird on occasion. And Jay, maybe you have some thoughts. Do you want to start?
do.
I've got some thoughts. Do you got anything?
Oh yeah, I've got thoughts. Primarily because I mean that's really the approach that I've taken is online. I mean it's not for.
I thought you were like the approach to be a creeper. That was my
Yes.
approach.
Yeah, I mean go with your
Kind of go
strengths.
with the creeper crowd.
Go with your strengths, man. Know what they are and own it. No, really. Something to keep in mind, I guess, is when I start a conversation with somebody on Facebook who I've not ever communicated with before, all they see is my profile pic, right? So all they know is I'm a dude and I'm online and I'm talking to them about fitness stuff. That's all they know. So the approach that I've kind of evolved to over time is just right up front, I will tell them, look, just so you know, I'm not a creeper. Here's where you can go to find out more about me and kind of get to know me virtually. And that's where I'll send them a link. And I'll ask you if I send you a quick video that introduces me and tells you a little bit more about who I am and why I'm here to help. Would you take a look at it? They always say yes. And then I jokingly say something about, good, I just find that this helps so you know I'm not some kind of weird creeper. And just toss it out there because it's like the elephant in the room is what I've found. And usually it's good for a laugh. And then they'll say, of course, I'll check out the video. They go look at the intro video, which is basically just me sitting down explaining my story with a couple testimonials. And that kind of puts them at ease. So I guess I would say if you have a video of that type, use that. If you have testimonials from any women you've worked with who are willing to say that you're not a creeper, that would be good. But really, if they have anything to say about results or what it's like to work with you, that'll help put their minds at ease as well. But I wouldn't worry about dancing around it. The fact is the conversation has started at that point. So if they were really that worried about it, they probably wouldn't have even brought it up or responded to you. But having those types of tools, I know you have your blog. You probably have a couple places where you go through your story a little bit, but having a couple key spots, whether it's a short video or an About Me page, that really details your story and explains who you are, what you're about, and why you're there to help.
Yeah.
I think that's helpful.
And I think to Bryce, Tyler, that I'm betting your hardest point though is the initiation, the first question, right? Am I right on that?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's that's the thing is, you know, when I start a conversation, it's like, hey, I seen you posted that you painted a chair on Facebook. How did it go? You know, like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying though?
I know, man. That's awesome.
Then it's like, oh, this dude's totally checking out my profile.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so I'm like,
can you maybe fill in the blanks a little bit, Tyler, on where you're? Don't give away all your creeper expert secrets here, but
I mean,
where I guess are you looking? Are you running into these people on groups and things, and then you check out their profile, or are they reaching out to you, or how's the lead coming in?
No, it's just like, yeah, because
timeline stuff.
I mean, I don't want to. Yeah, what'd you say, Dan?
Timeline stuff.
Yeah, and it's, you know, those type of things, and like I see something that catches my eye, so I like look, and it's someone that I don't even know how I met him, but we went to the same college or something, you know, one of those back in my heydays that I somehow met. But
all 4 years ago.
Those are pretty hazy days.
I know. I don't remember. Yeah.
So yeah,
let me jump
literally.
in. So, I'm thinking, dude. So the biggest thing initially is, especially as you're trying to break into the new kind of relationship building side of that. I'm a little bit more, and I know people talk, you know, about we want to like foster relationships and things like that. I tend, especially when I was first getting started in messaging people, I was specific about what I was asking a little bit more. So, hey, you know, and it would be a thing like if you did do any stalking a little bit just to see where they're at, and if they're that's a runner, you find out this gal's a runner. Hey, Sarah, notice you were seeing that you're a runner. My name is, I'm Tyler. I'm a health and fitness coach, and we have a free support group on Facebook that we've got a whole, you can say a whole, whatever you want to say. Wondered if you might want to join us. We share things like recipes and blah, blah, blah. Didn't know if you wanted to. And then it's a little bit more like specific versus like, hey, I saw that pot. That's really nice.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, Melissa, you raised your hand. Did that mean you wanted to chime in on this a little bit? Did you have any thoughts?
Well, Dan, I didn't have really any thoughts. I had another question. I guess it kind of does tie into what you're already talking about. Mm-hmm. I have not actually reached out to anybody specifically yet. I've had people contact me every day, which has been amazing. But I guess I can understand, like, if I see somebody who is already into fitness or, you know what I'm saying, is doing something, that's kind of an opener. But how do you guys really approach somebody who, and I don't want to be offensive or anything, but who, really could use the help, but I don't know how to do it without feeling like I'm kind of like insulting them, like, hey, you really need to, let me help you lose some weight. I don't know how to start a conversation without feeling like I'm insulting them, or does that make sense?
Oh, it certainly does.
How do you guys do that?
I usually just come right out and say, dude, you look like a mess. You need some help. Let me help you out.
You're a walking heart attack. Stop it.
No, if I can, in thinking back more on Tyler's question too, starting off with just a conversation to just relax, because I remember having like this mental block of, before I even typed the first character or reached out to somebody at all, I was like, how am I going to bring up Beachbody? How am I going to bring up Beachbody? How am I going to do that? How am I going to pitch the fitness stuff? How am I going to offer my help? Whatever angle you want to take, right? And I just kind of had to chill out a little bit and just start a conversation and just say, hey, how's it going? And hopefully if you're on their page, you have something in common that led you there. So start with that. Or if it's somebody that you're in a mutual group with, start with that topic. And almost naturally, people are going to, if they're open to having a conversation at all, they're going to start to chat. So start with the topic that you share in common. Obviously, if you're in a hunting forum or something like that, or group, start with that conversation. What are you doing? Where are you from? How's the season going for you? That type of stuff, whatever you have in common. And then you can ask them, so what do you do? Which is pretty straightforward. It's a very common question. It's not a very scary question. Or what kind of work do you do? And usually people will detail a little bit about what they do. And anybody with any courtesy at all and any manners at all will ask you back 99% of the time, so what do you do? And that's where the door is completely wide open to just lay out there, I'm a Beachbody coach. I help people get into shape and improve their fitness, however you want to frame that, right?
Okay.
And kind of open that door. But usually what I will do at that point then is just give them a question back to the original topic of hunting, basket weaving, painting chairs, whatever it was. And if they're really interested in anything to do with fitness or coaching or getting help or improving their health, they're going to bring the conversation back themselves. So they're going to start to pull it out of you versus you trying to drive the conversation in that direction. Did that help at all?
Yeah, it did. Thank you.
It's a positioning where you are and here's the funny thing is that if you can keep the balance, I'm thinking somewhere around the 70-30 mark, because you have to share some, or people then think you start to then sound like an interviewer for like a TV station, I don't know, whatever. But so you have to share some, but if you can keep a 70-30 rule-ish of like, keep the focus on them, people are going to be that much more open to start share and then ask back of you, because they generally, okay, this person's gone 4 questions in and they're still not like showing a massive agenda. Like, hey, I've got this thing I've got to sell, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Then you can build that genuine relationship with them. And then they will probably open the door. And then they can be the spot of where you can say where you're genuinely excited. This is what I'm excited to do. And if they don't respond after that, then it would be silly to then continue. Because, just in normal conversation, let's say this would be a good example. If I have a great interest in Star Wars for some reason, okay, and I'm excited about the new episodes or the new movies coming out, blah, blah, and I'm excited about it, and I talk to someone and basically can tell pretty quickly they've not even seen any of the other movies, and they're really not for me to continue on talking. But you won't believe that they have all the original people are back in, like Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher. They're all back in this thing. You wouldn't believe it. Then they're like, okay, awkward, because I'm not really, the conversation didn't go there. But in the case of this, is if you bring it up that you are whatever, and the conversation naturally goes there, and they start to engage in on that, then it's totally great and it's natural. But and we've used this example before, okay, very specific. I'll say it real fast. It's don't be the milk duds guy, okay? We've used this in our Team Symbiotic has used this in the past too with their. So you walk into Walmart and you go to the greeter person and get you, and you say, hey, and they say, hey, how are you doing? Good. How are you doing? Can I help you find something? Yep. And you say, I'd like to find a garden hose. And they say, well, I don't know about garden hoses, but we have these milk duds over here that are on sale, and I'd love to sell them to you. And you're like, well, no, wait a minute. I'm looking for a garden hose. I just find broke. I got to get a new one. Well, yeah, but you know what? We have strawberry, chocolate, and vanilla, tropical vegan strawberry, and chocolate vegan milk duds in the green berry, which no one really talks about. But we got all these milk duds, and you really need these because they're on sale, and we can give you, along with that, we can give you these, these nerds or whatever. I don't know, whatever. It's in a bundle pack, right? And so you become that person, and then it gets all weird because the conversation didn't naturally go there. So help them generally. It was a little bit of a tangent, but that's sort of the same concept.
Yeah, I think part of it, Dan, is it comes down to, and I think Caleb talked about this on a couple of his videos too, is just being a friend. Just be friendly.
Yeah, that's it.
And be interested instead of interesting, and reach out a hand and just be a friend to people and have a conversation like you would if you sat down next to somebody at a park or at a restaurant, or if you're standing in line at a grocery store. You would just start a conversation and just be a friend. And remember too that, especially on Facebook, if you reach out to somebody and you just start a conversation and then you connect with them, they're going to see all of your regular posts. So even if you don't bring it up the first time, if you connect on Facebook and you're sharing your life and you're talking about your workouts every now and then and nutrition and the lifestyle that you're living, they're going to see that stuff. So even if it doesn't come up in that first conversation, they're just going to get to know that about you by being connected to you.
Yeah, really good. Let's go to, so this is Stephanie Morris's question. I want to answer this one. Stephanie, I'm going to actually import an image that I just found that is fantastic that you need to use. Hold on 2 seconds here. Got to find my window with this. Here it is. Okay, desktop. Is it this? 2 seconds here. No, that's not it. There it is. Okay, here we go. Right, yeah. Hold on. Right here. You guys see this? Okay. So Stephanie asked, how do you define people what a Beachbody coach is when they ask? Okay. And this is kind of fun. So what does it mean to be a Beachbody coach? I just found this literally tonight. It means, simple answer is it means to create your own future. Okay. Now, that's a little bit crazy in ethereal or maybe a little bit so big picture. But really what it is people, and I think if you would define it in this way a little bit, and Jay, you can maybe follow up, or anybody else for that matter. You doesn't have to be Jay all the time necessarily either. But is the point of saying that it's people who are, they are interested in getting fit, staying fit, and then ultimately helping others to do the same. I think is a pretty good summary of what we do. And with that, then ultimately there's money that's earned from that. Is that, I mean, and again, to help people like live out their life dreams and their goals. Anybody, Jay, you got anything for that?
Yeah, I kind of try to drive the conversation sometimes to the point where they ask, so what is a coach? What does that mean? Mm-hmm. And that's a great open door. It gives you a chance to explain, well, I'm working on my own fitness and health. And while I do that, I help others do the same thing and transform their health and their fitness and their lives.
Mm-hmm. And for you, Stephanie, I would imagine, you know, you're going to have that mix of people because Stephanie is a group fitness instructor. She's going to have a mix of some people who would be more quote unquote professionals almost. And then some people who would just be like class attendees and things like that. So you would have to kind of go both sides of that. And if you go over to, it's called, if you do a web search, Stephanie, on this, for your people who are more like fitness instructors, you can check on teamrockstarfit.com, I think is what it is. That's Vito Lafata's, the guy who was in our picture, his site. And also that's Trina Gray, that's his sponsor coach. They have a site, and it explains specifically as it regards to fitness professionals, like how to define a Beachbody coach for a fitness professional, if that matters for you. What else? What else we got?
One quick thought to add on any kind of answer like that, right? When they ask you, I always felt like there was this, I was nervous about where to go with the answer, because I would answer, well, I help people with their fitness while also working on my own. And then it's just kind of like this infinite ellipsis at the end of that. And it's like, okay, what do I want them to do with that information after this? What do I say next? So I would start to fill the time and fill the gap by talking too much. So usually I just try to keep it to that one simple statement and ask them a friendly question back about something about them. Or if I notice that they're wearing new running shoes, I'll be like, ask about that. Or if they have a logo on their shirt, ask about that. Something about them.
Yeah. Well, and I think here's the other part too, is like, if they're genuinely interested, and this is a more of a traditional network marketing approach to just saying this, is like, almost you want to say, well, okay, well, I can tell you a little bit more about it, but ask me why, or like, let me know, like, so what has you interested? You know, what is your interest point on this? You know, I'll certainly tell you, but I think there's a lot of different things that, as a Beachbody coach, tell me why you're interested a little bit. Not try to avoid the question, but like, I can take different routes here. And so it's like, well, you know, I just was wondering because, like, I'm looking to make some extra money. Okay, let's talk about that. And then why do you, and then you can actually dig into their why, which is pretty cool, because then you can kind of connect their why to the opportunity versus, you could go a whole direction with somebody and it does not at all connect to their why whatsoever. And they just go, that's not for me. That's not for me. Whatever. So,
I think it varies, right? I mean, if somebody approaches you and you just got done instructing at your fitness center, right? And you've still got your gear on, and maybe they've seen you around town, they know who you are, the conversation starts there. Obviously that opens different doors than if I just run into a complete stranger in line at Home Depot and they notice I have a P90X logo on my shirt.
Yep.
Right. So I think it's partially about understanding and being aware of the setup, right? I think if you dive in too fast, and that's part of the reason I have this discussion. I think everybody has a little bit different approach, and it depends on the scenario. And
it also, the more personal you can make it to your experience, rather than this is what Beachbody coaches do, but to personalize. Well, the reason why I became a coach was X, and then that it's a little bit harder to argue that kind of a thing. Like for me to say, I first became a coach because like I wanted to get healthy. And then as I did get healthier, I realized that I wanted to make some extra money to help pay for my kids' college.
I think that's a beautiful answer. I mean, to be able to say why I became a coach is, and that way you can just make it more personal, and it's about you, and there's some emotion there, and there's a story there versus
facts,
some sort of a mission statement or fact. Yeah. Well, that's really good.
So what if you want to approach them and ask if that's interesting that you got watched both times there, Claire, on your thing. Yeah. Jay, you want to take that one? Discount?
Yeah, the only time I've approached somebody leading with a discount is if I know they're already going to buy the program. Like if they're talking
I think I'm betting that this is more about a customer. Claire, if you want to clarify
converting a customer to a coach.
Converting a customer to a coach.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah, I basically, it depends. Have they been in a challenge group? Have they not? Have they demonstrated anything that makes them look as if they'd be a good coach? If not, if I think they might just want a discount, if they've been on the Shake for a month or 2 or 3 months, at that point, I will ask them, I'll just kind of tee it up and have a conversation with them and ask them, just so you know, zero pressure, there is the option to get a discount on the Shakeology, and you can earn some extra by having any referrals, just in case somebody would ever ask you about it.
Yep. And this is kind of interesting. Who did I hear this word from? Forget who it was. Talked about the idea of sponsoring. So as a different use of word, using the word to sponsor somebody into, so instead of having it to be like a referral, which sometimes feel like the friends and family deal, or the coach, which is really scary for people who are just getting started. But well, you know what? Hey, all you need to do is if you wanted to like sponsor some people into our next challenge, you would get credit for that. Oh, you mean like just like a sponsor? Think about like, so if you're thinking like maybe from AA or something like a support group sponsor, like, okay, maybe just a few steps ahead, and that role, the word sponsor can actually take on a good connotation versus the referral thing sometimes or whatever. So.
I like that one, Dan, especially if they have any inkling of having some good attributes of a coach, right?
Yeah.
If they've been in a group, if they seem to have some sort of a network. There are cases where even right now, there are a couple people I need to approach who have been on Shakeology for a couple months, and they've not really been active in groups. They just like the Shake. They don't really do social media. They just like the Shake. That's it. However, they have been asking more questions about friends asking them about it. That opens the door. So.
Yeah, and the truth is, the beginning, it could be a situation where you're just asking them about, or you see some characteristics of them where they start acting like they're already naturally doing coaching behaviors. And then it's like, well, hey, I noticed you were doing this. Well, that's kind of what a coach does. You want to hear a little bit about that kind of a thing. So good. We got time for, we don't have time. I hate to say it because I want to keep we've gone long. We do have one more question because I always thought about this one. This is a very important question. So everybody watch the screen. 1, 2, 3. Seriously, I've always wondered this question. I want to ask Zoltar, and he'll like open the mouth and go, and just why on Brazil? But some of you love that program. I'm so sorry. Melissa, you did say this. I forgot you did ask a question earlier. Yes, people who are more passionate tend to be more successful. But with this one caveat, passion and energy without focus and system equals a party. That's pretty much it. Okay? So I've seen people who are passionate and energetic, and they rah, rah, rah for maybe a month, maybe 2. And then it's like, well, this is actually work. There's a job thing you have to do here. No fun. I guess I'm not going to do a Beachbody coach. So I've seen that. But with a system, energy and passion and consistency, absolutely. All right. So we're going to ask you to apply what we learned a little bit today. Maybe something you can think about it that you would apply to your learning or to your business this week. Okay. Other questions, if you have them, please always feel comfortable to post that stuff in the group. I know, I recognize this, because some of you are like you do both groups. You sometimes do people have like, there's certain questions you'll ask in like the SimFit Coach Club, because we've got people who are on both right now still. And then there's certain things you'll post in Go Team. Go Team I see is a lot more celebration or announcements, whereas questions will be more over in SimFit. The only way we're going to get more people to answer questions and things like that in a Go Team is if we ask the questions, okay? And we can, guys. We'll answer your questions for you, just so you know that. So that's great stuff. All right, next week, wanted to cover for you. Check it out. Creating your promotional strategy for a launch of your next challenge. Wait a minute. It isn't just post one picture or just like talk to like two people, like post one picture and invite people and then wonder why you got crickets. It's not that. What? Okay, so we're going to move beyond the crickets. Actually, I like that. Moving beyond the crickets. That's good. Okay, so we're going to help you create a promotional strategy. So it's a system that you can use for almost every launch you do. Now, granted, the language is going to change, but the strategy will be similar for each launch of each given challenge that you're going to do, okay? And that is next week on Monday, the last day of the month. 31st. It doesn't even have a date, or it doesn't even have an August. Sorry. There we go. Bam. 31st. So, everybody, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you in the club.
See ya.
See ya. All right, I probably got something. What do I got? Something to dance with. What do we got? How about, let's go back. Hit it.
Don't use this.
No, here we were.